Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday service of Now Creations. I always encourage us just to pause at the beginning of our service, just to experience that presence within you, that Holy Spirit at the very center of your beings. There is nothing more important than this, to feel the presence within you. And may it truly be your guide, not only for today, but throughout the rest of your life. Just one announcement for today. If you're able to join us, we'll be very happy to have you for our New Earth by Eckhart Tolle this evening from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Please join us if you're able to do so. My dear friends, two synchronistic events happened recently that have provided the basis for this week's teaching. The first was a phrase that simply came up in one of our discussion groups. The phrase was focus on purpose. Focus on purpose. As soon as I heard the phrase, I jotted it down, thinking that that phrase would be a good topic for a teaching. Focus on purpose. The second event was response that so many of you made to last Sunday's teaching entitled Creating a Pivotal Reality. Many of you asked if I would develop this topic more extensively. Your comments seem to fit nicely into the phrase focus on purpose, which in fact is the topic of today's teaching. I will begin with a brief review of last Sunday's teaching, introduce one of my favorite philosophers, Aristotle, and then proceed to two basic spiritual patterns of life with an eventual blending of the two for your edification and hopefully upliftment. Let's begin. First, a brief review of last week's teaching entitled Creating Your Pivotal Reality, meaning how you will view the events of your life as you go forward in your life. The two basic points of the teachings are that you are a light in the world, you are a light in the world, and that your light is what brings heaven to earth, or as I like to call it, bringing awareness to the planet. Important aspects of being that light in the world were not getting caught in old patterns of acting, being of service, and especially pausing through the day to replenish your light. So with that brief review, let me share with you a little Aristotle. While Aristotle wrote about many things, I was always impressed by his ability to recognize certain everyday aspects of life, which he wrote about in many of his ethical works. Aristotle noted three progressive aspects of human behavior, which will serve us well in today's teaching on focusing on purpose. Aristotle first recognized that people exhibit certain patterns of life which become habits. Certain patterns of life become habits. In fact, he defined a habit as simply a repeated speech or action. And then he said something that I have always remembered since my college days in studying Aristotle. Then he said, repeated patterns of life, which become habits, form our states of character. Repeated patterns of life that become habits are the basis for our character states. I've never forgotten that teaching, that our character states, who we are, develop from habits, which simply are repeated patterns of life. With this teaching firmly in mind, that repeated patterns of life are habits, that form our character states, I think that we can easily see the two basic patterns of life that a spiritual person needs to know, and then how a blending of these two patterns can become the basis for focusing on purpose. The first pattern of life that serves us spiritually is to be able to see life from the top down, from the Creator's view of life. While we certainly understand that we are made in the image and likeness of God, let's be even more practical in seeing life from the top down, using the concepts of light and love, again, from the top down. From the top down, light is the consciousness that you have. Light is the consciousness that you place on something, whether it's a relationship or a situation. Light is the illumination. Light is the knowing. It is the understanding that you bring to your daily life occurrences. Love is simply light in action. Love is the expression of light. Love is what you do with the light. Love is how you put the light into practice, into external expression. Now, isn't this our daily goal? To be an eternal being of light and love, knowing that as we do so, only good can come to us and only good can come from us. Isn't this the pattern of life that we want to develop? Isn't this the habit of life that we want to be? And isn't this the character state, to be a being of light and love that enables us to be a light in the world, bringing heaven to earth, precisely as our Creator intended? This is a view from the top down via Aristotle's explanation of character states. But there is another view that we have to be aware of, and that is from the bottom up. And Aristotle's patterns of life, habits, and states of character are just as applicable. Let me explain. I'm going to introduce a new term into the bottom-up approach that seems to fit once we at least have a view of the top-down approach. The term I want to introduce is claustrophobia. Claustrophobia. The term claustrophobia means fear of confined places. Fear of confined places. I think that's exactly what claustrophobia is for us who know the better way from the top down. Claustrophobia means showing up too small from simply the human space. Let me just repeat that. Claustrophobia means showing up too small from the confined human space. The simply human space is too confining for many of us now. We want to play big, not small. Nevertheless, from the human perspective, we have to watch out. We have to be on alert for those unruly desires, those superficial graspings and control tendencies. It was no less than the Buddha himself who cautioned us that human suffering comes from unruly desires that become superficial needs. Such unruly desires often result in guilt and shame. And we know that these lower states can become patterns of life, guilt and shame. And then they become habits, guilt and shame. And dare I say it, they become states of character. We feel guilty and are shameful. Do you not know many people who seem to have lost their light? The Creator's spark seems to be absent from them. They are playing very, very, very small. They have claustrophobia. They are confined by the space of the ego. Additionally, such lower energies, rather than attracting more light and love, attract more lower energies that evoke even more lower energies, thoughts and emotions that become lodged in our physical bodies. The major problem of life is really, as we see life from the bottom up, we get stuck in the bottom. We don't go up. We get stuck in the bottom. It's a very confined view of life. It's claustrophobic. It's too confining. It's not what we've been created for. Thus, I give you so much credit. I give you so much credit for moving beyond the unconscious patterns of life, not allowing the world and not allowing others to confine you, but rather moving into your greater light, being able to see things from the top down, yet being able to incorporate the top down into the bottom up of everyday life. It is the blending of these two approaches, which is the need that the world has right now, the need for us to bring light into this world, bringing heaven to earth as our new patterns of life, as our daily habits, as our states of character, as our focus on purpose. Let me now blend these two views, the top down and the bottom up, first giving you the antidote to claustrophobia, playing too small, and then focusing on three purposes that will be helpful to you. First, the antidote to claustrophobia. The antidote for claustrophobia is the twofold aspect of freedom. The first aspect of freedom, very easy to understand. Freedom is the fresh air of life. It is releasing the staleness of claustrophobia of the ego and waking up to the fresh air of new possibilities. It opens us up to worlds that we want to explore. It enables us to do what the Creator has bid us to do, namely, to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. That second aspect of being the light in the world, that second aspect of freedom, of bringing heaven to earth in our present lifetime. Is this not now your pattern of life? Hasn't this become your habit? Isn't this your state of character now, being the light in the world? Honestly, aren't you doing that? You are the light in the world consciously. Is this not now your new focus on purpose to bring consciousness to the planet? Do you not see how these things are coming together as you? You are blending the top down and the bottom up as light in the world. Let us now address, however, our blending of focus on purpose, namely, what it is that you want to explore as you move into your future. I will begin again with the antidote of claustrophobia, and then suggests three very rich centers of exploration. You might want to take some notes. You know the antidote to claustrophobia, playing too small in the confined egoic space. But the real question is, will you embrace the antidote and move into the larger expansion of yourself? Will you embrace the antidote? Okay, you know the antidote. The antidote to claustrophobia is freedom. Now, of course, everyone wants to be free, and nobody wants someone else to tell them what they have to do. But when you experience freedom, you have to experience what it is that you want to create. This is where most people seem to need help. They don't know what to create. They don't want to be told what to do. But very few people know how to use their freedom to create a meaningful future. Thus, they continue to go forward by looking backwards. That's the great problem with freedom. Don't tell me what to do, but I'm not sure what to do. I seem to be going forward by going backwards. They look to the past to focus on their future purpose. And then they get trapped again because, well, they don't know how to create a meaningful future. Again, they don't want to be told what to do, but often they are so stagnant because they don't know what to do. They don't know how to create a meaningful future. So may I suggest to you these three things that will help you for your meaningful future. You will know what fits for you. The first thing for a meaningful future, the very first thing, is for a person who is spiritually ready to spend additional spiritual time. By additional spiritual time, I don't mean simply saying more prayers or just extending your spiritual time periods, but rather to spend more spiritual time so that you will convince yourself that the spiritual pathway is the most important path for you to follow, and that it becomes the way you view your daily life. Spending more time means feeling that spiritual presence within you until feeling that spiritual presence within you until it becomes your daily sense of self. Be clear about this. Until that spiritual presence becomes your 24/7 sense of self. It becomes not just your pivotal reality, but your focus on purpose. There was a time when you thought that you couldn't do this. Not anymore. Not anymore. It just takes a focus on your purpose of being a spiritual being in human form, in the material realms, being convinced that you are the light of the world, that you are bringing heaven to earth. That's the first step. The second step is to translate this spiritual presence into a loving service to yourself and to others. The juice of life, the joy of being spiritually present, is to extend this presence into the daily situations of your life. As A Course in Miracles clearly states, you are an extension of the presence of God. So extend, show up, get out of your head, live from your heart, be a way shower, just in the way you show up in your everyday life. Now, here's the biggest point that I can make to you in today's teaching. When you decide to show up as service in your everyday life, you will be shown where to proceed next. When you decide to show up in a servicing way, your service will show you where your future will be. It's only by showing up today that you will be directed for tomorrow. Do you understand this? It's only by showing up today that you'll be directed for tomorrow. Focus on your purpose today. It will illumine your purpose in the future. This is really how life works. Focus on purpose of being the light. And the future will be revealed. The third focus. The third focus is the rejuvenation, the returning to a youthfulness of your body, emotions, and mind. It is of vital importance that you first allow the spiritual light of purpose to shine on your own humanity, on your body, on your emotions, and your mind. Now, there are many, many, many things involved with this idea of rejuvenation, and perhaps you might want to discuss these possibilities with another. But focused on rejuvenation is so very important. Rejuvenating every aspect of your life from your spiritual light, from your spiritual energy. You will know what you need. Please don't settle for your past. Your past does not hold the key to unlock your future. Focus on rejuvenation and allow your spirit to show the way for you. In conclusion, we realize that we all have patterns of life that result in habits that form states of character. Thank you, Aristotle. But more so, thank you, Holy Spirit, for moving us beyond the claustrophobia of the past and into a focus on a purpose that enables us to be free, to be spiritual, to be of service, and again to experience the rejuvenation of spirit. This is how we focus on purpose. And by the way, did I mention we are doing this together? Let me now take you into meditation, and what a joy it is to do so. Let's begin our meditation today. Again, just being happy to be here and to know that within the very center of our being, there is an energy, there is a spirit that is moving us. May we just take that time now to go within and feel that spirit giving us direction and guidance, and allow me to direct you. Please begin by again focusing on your breath, just breathing in and breathing out, and allowing the breath to take you where it will, relaxing your body, reducing your mental chatter, and bringing you forward. Please begin. And would you just say to yourself, well, here I am. Here I am. This is me. This is me. This is the inner me. This is me. This is my conscious self. And would you simply place your hand over your sternum and understand that your conscious self is the animating energy within you? It's directing your humanity. It directs your bottom up. We normally call it your soul. Would you just feel that soul presence within your body, emotions, and mind at the very center of your humanity? Here I am, right within this body of mine. So I'm going to make a bet with you. I'm going to make a bet with you. 10 years ago, maybe even as recently as 5 years ago, if I asked you to define Aristotle's notion of habits, how would you describe maybe your main habit, or maybe 2 or 3 of your basic habits? I bet you would have probably described something that you normally do. It could be a habit of exercising, or habit of eating, or you go shopping, or you watch TV. And you realize that they were patterns of life. Maybe you didn't understand that they formed your sense of character, but they did. They were your habits. Most of them, I'm sure, quite good, not bad, but just everyday habits. But today, if I asked you, what is your daily habit? What do you do today more than anything else? Today, what do you do more than anything else? I bet you would say, I bet you would say, my daily habit is to be in the light. I bet you'd say that. And it's the truth. You are done with the claustrophobia of the ego. It's too confining. You want fresh air, exploring new possibilities. So let's look at these three new patterns of life, three new habits, three new states of character that you are developing. The first one, do you not spend more spiritual time, whether individually or in group? This is helping you to understand that you are the light in the world, bringing heaven to earth. Would you not say this is true? Individually and collectively, you are in the habit of being a light in the world, bringing awareness to the planet. This has become a state of your character. A second characteristic. Is it not true now that you are in service, not of yourself, but you are in service of the light to yourself and to others? is that not true that the service that you are in are servicing the light? Aren't you kinder, nicer, happier, both with yourself and others? You are in service to the light. And now for the most important part of today's teaching, as you focus on purpose, your service to the light is putting you into situations which will then determine your future. Serving the light is the pathway into the future. You can't think the future. It is by showing up in the present that the future reveals itself. Please understand this. As you focus on purpose, as you focus on the light, the future reveals itself. Rejuvenation, rejuvenation to the body, the mind, the emotions. You will know what that means for you. But might I suggest the following? How many of you have said, I am the happiest now that I've ever been in my life? Isn't that the rejuvenation? I'm the happiest now that I've ever been in my life. Rejuvenation. Body, emotions, mind, and soul. Thank you, Holy Spirit.
Deep within, peace resides, faith abounds, and love abides. The light shines bright to love without, love within. I honor thee, I honor thee. Namaste, I honor thee. I honor thee, I honor thee. Namaste, I honor thee. When you are where you need to be, within that space, I honor thee. Seen through eyes, an illusion, seen through spirit, we are one. I honor thee, I honor thee, I honor thee. Namaste, I honor thee. I honor thee, I honor thee. Namaste, I honor thee. Namaste, I honor
Patterns of life become habits, and they become character states. Thank you, Aristotle. May I suggest that your character state has become the light of God. bringing heaven to earth. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Namaste.